And this statue that we got here, you can see here in the background, was actually James Einhaus, a young Cardinal fan, went to the city council of Oglesby and convinced them that they should be honoring their native son. So they agreed, and they named the Little League ball diamond the Sonny Jim Bottomley diamond. And they had this statue made with a plaque in his honor. I happen to have the honor of unveiling that. And the humorous part about it is I had my speech all prepared, and the person in front of me was a news reporter from the local radio station, I believe, and he stole half of my material, and that really flummoxed me. What am I going to do now? So I had to kind of ad-lib. But what was neat about it was that when I got the word that this was going to happen, that they were going to honor me by letting me unveil the statue, I sent a mass email out to my relatives, and I got people from California and Washington State and from Ohio and from Pennsylvania and of course Illinois. We had probably 50 people there, and it turned into quite an event. So it's kind of nice to have. It's very nice to have some famous relative. It's easy to do your family tree. Believe me. I mean, if you run into somebody with the same name, you say, "Are you related to Sonny Jim Bottomley?" If they say no, they're not. They're not your relative, because you know your famous relatives. And so I've had several occasions. I met some online, and they said, "Well, no, we're not related to them." I said, "Well, it's still Bottomleys." There was only one Bottomley. The Black Death killed all the Bottomleys in England, so we all go back to one John Bottomley. And that's why there's a lot of John Bottomleys in the Bottomley family, because, you know, it all stemmed from him, because he was the only survivor. And that's where we came from, England, in 1868.
You also provided this family photo where Avon is listed, but can you talk about the people in that photo?
Yes, this is the Bottomley family here with and we have Harv, Ernest, my Aunt Della, and Bill Bottomley, and my dad, and then you have Robert and Bill, the father, and Stokes and Stella, my grandmother, and Avon sitting on the thing. And strangely enough, my dad is a spitting image of my grandchild. I mean, if you took at the same age and looked, you wouldn't tell them apart. It's unbelievable. But see, Uncle Bill, or Grandfather Bill, his brother was Sonny Jim's father. Sonny Jim's dad was my grandfather's brother. That's how we got our relationship on a thing. He didn't want to be a coal miner. See, his dad was actually the manager of the coal mine, and that's why he moved to Nokomis. That's why he come to the Bottomley, why he came to the United States, because he was one of the ones that came to manage a coal mine in Oglesby. And then he moved down to Nokomis and managed one there. And then I have another relative that was a coal mine manager in Dowell, Illinois. We have streets named Bottomley Street in both towns.
Where exactly did he live in Oglesby?
There's some, I think, I didn't write it down here. It's on my other thing. It was on, the house doesn't exist anymore. It's, I think in Walnut Street somewhere in there, but there's some different opinions on that. I've heard two different places. My daughter was a postie over in Oglesby, and somebody told her different than what I was told. So I don't know who was right, but it was it's off Walnut Street is where I was told, but it's only a block or two off Walnut Street to the north. But I don't know exactly where it was. It's been an interesting ride. I've collected a lot of things. I never did get a game use bat. This bat here is my bat. It's not a game use bat, but you can go. Actually, I believe you can go down to the Louisville Sluggers and have one of these made. They still have the dies for everybody they ever made a bat for.
Really? Wow.
But this is an original.
Mhm.
And one of the humorous stories is Holland. What's her name? What's his?
Doug?
Mine.
Doug, Mary?
The one that lives in Peru. They're all known as DJ. Okay, but anyway, so that makes it confusing. You got Douglas James, Dennis James, and Bucky. Bucky Hollins is his nickname. Okay, he has actually related to Sonny Jim the same as me. He's a second cousin of Sonny Jim through the mother's side, but I got the name and he didn't. So, but he had, as a youth, he had 2 autographed bats from Sonny Jim, and he would throw rocks in the air and hit them with the bats. And my brother-in-law used to go out there, which was a cousin, and he'd find them laying out in the yard, and he'd take them back in the house. So, you know, they were probably destroyed, but he was using them to hit rocks with. Them bats would be very valuable.
Jeez,
right
I'd hit him with the bat.
Very valuable now, actually, you know. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this, but I signed baseball cards for Tops, 3 for Tops and 2 for the Upper Deck Company. They made baseball cards. And some of those are going for, you know, a lot of money now. I mean, one of them was, I think when I checked on eBay, and it's been a while, it was like $1,100 for this card because they only made one. I seriously think maybe it might be his wife's signature because it was off a check. You kind of see that it was off a check. If it's like me, I've never signed a check. My wife always signed my check because I was always at work when the check had come, you know, so she signed it. But I thought that was pretty neat, you know. But when you do a contract for a baseball card, they send you, they make 25,000 what they call base cards. And they sent me some of the base cards. And then some of the specialty cards, of course, you don't get because sometimes they'll only make 4 of those. You know, and the one baseball, the first card I had was an Upper Deck card. And it was a game use bat. They took a bat and they cut it into little wafers. And they mounted a wafer of that in the card. It's a plastic card, not cardboard, plastic. And there's a piece of the bat in that card. Last time I checked, it's worth $36. I have 3 of them. But they sent me one, and I bought a couple of more when they were cheaper, of course. So, like I said, I have. Yeah, you've seen how many baseball cards I got. A lot of them. I bought a lot of different cards, and a lot of them are not that expensive, $1 or something, but they're on eBay. If you go and put in Sonny Jim Bottomley, you're going to find some. I did. There's a new bunch that are out that they didn't come and ask me for my permission, which you didn't really have to do anyway. The agent that called me I said, why me? And he says, well, you're the member of the museum down in Nokomis, Illinois, and we got your telephone number from them. So you're interested. You might as well sign the contract and take the money and run, he said. So I did. But my family will probably come in here and want some more money. We were over watching the skydivers one day, and I looked, and somebody was going to go along, not make the drop zone. I said to my wife, let's go pick them up and bring them back to the airport. And I said, okay. So we drove over. We picked up some young gal that dropped out into a cornfield, and she's in the back seat, and we were talking, and she was related to Stan Musial. I says, you know, your relative is a guy that takes away my relative's notoriety a little bit because Stan's a real good first baseman too, see? But what are the odds of that, of picking somebody off that just jumped out of an airplane and have a relative that played on the same team as your relative? And she forgot her helmet in my car, and I had to go back and find her, and I'm thinking, how am I going to find this woman in a hangar with 200 or 300 people that I only got a glance at because I was driving? So I walked in with the helmet in my hand. I'm walking along, and somebody said, sir, that's my wife's helmet. So I got it back to her. That was kind of interesting, but it just shows you the oddity of things. Like, I don't know if I said this before, but uh, James Einhaus he lives across the street from me now. I might have said that before, but he was living in Oglesby at the time, you know, and so now he lives across the street. As a matter of fact, on the way up here, I told him I was coming here. So he might be, this is the guy that did this. If it wasn't for him, that statue would not be here.
It really is a small world. That is something else.
Yeah,
The oddity
exactly.
of life.
Is there anything that you want to say about the history club that meets at Utica, or the work that you've done there?
Yeah, we're me and my wife and Gloria Alvarado, the ex-mayor at Utica, and I've known her since she was, 4 years old, because we lived with, 4 houses away from each other our whole growing up time and everything. But we're the last remaining live members of the Utica History Club. We did that for 10 years. Every Monday for 10 years, we went into the library and we basically put their pictures and articles and everything into loose leaf notebooks. Last time I counted, there was like 250 that we'd done. When we got there, it was just boxes of things. We went through the pictures and put them in the categories, the different categories, Starved Rock, Deer Park, all that stuff. It's kind of wound down now because we retired basically, and so. But if you're interested in Utica history, here in the library, you can get all the information you want because it's there. As my wife has read a lot of LaSalle County history and probably knows it as well as about anybody. Actually, she claims her memory is not good, but it's actually very good, and she just doesn't want to brag about it, I guess, because you ask her a question about somebody, you ask about James Clark, and she'll give you a dissertation on him, which is actually one of the big luminaries in Utica during the day. He was kind of what built it up, But like I said, this place has a vast library of information on the county.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please check out the other 2 Bottomley interview videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you enjoyed all this, please stop by our museum in Utica, Illinois, where you can learn many things about LaSalle County history.